Barlborough now. You can see the motorway over there, and Westfield Lodge probably belongs to the colliery. The colliery down here on the left hand side, Westfield Colliery, Cottam number 2 and Hazel Colliery. I presume this is all to do with the colliery. The houses down the road, down there. Nice old house. This is the site of Cottam number 2 colliery, and later Hazel Colliery, and there was a brickyard in here as well. By the looks of these houses, I think we're looking at management here. If they are colliery buildings, they're too big and too brazen in a way for just ordinary mine workers. There is a block of houses over there which we'll have a look at later on, which I think might possibly have been the cottages for these mines. Now an equestrian centre. Further investigation, I think these are for Westfield Colliery, these houses. This is the site, there's nothing here now though, but for Westfield Colliery, which is quite an old one. We're going across the dual carriageway that leads up to the M1 junction 30 in a bit, so let's get the dog on the lead. Now where have it? This is, as I say, this is for Westfield Colliery, Westfield Lane, Westfield Lodge, and there is a Cottam terrace over the other side, but we'll have a look at that in a bit, as I say. Right, I've crossed the main road. I'm looking down now towards Renishire and Bayton, and over the left to Staveley. Quite a bit of old style mining going off down here. You know, collieries that possibly no records, lost to the winds of time. But, this is a works lane down to a colliery. There's a colliery just down here on the right hand side, which we'll have a look at in a minute. So deep in the jungle is the remains of another colliery site, part of the Hazel Colliery, which is 20th century, very early 20th century, and its own colliery railway sidings, Hazel Colliery sidings, which were over there where that line of trees is, and coal would be taken down onto the main railway line. Prior to that it was all driven by steam engines, and this parcel of land with all the trees in, that was one of the collieries. Just studying the maps a little bit, that colliery sidings ran all the way up to Hazel Colliery. Quite an incline really. Let's see what he's doing, is he ploughing? So presumably before the railway came, there would have been a steam engine or a gravity fed assisted tramway of some sort, taking the coal down to the works at Renishire, and any ironstone that they came across. The telltale signs of mining. Some red and grey shale mixed in with old brick. So a lot of industrial work going off around this area, as you can see from the evidence. Down over to Staveley Chemicals. So that's the bottom of the piece of land, housing at least one shaft that I know of. There is evidence in there, but if you think I'm going in there to do a bit of archaeology in the middle of summer with all the nettles and weeds and thistles and everything else, you've got another thing coming. But we might do that as a project in the spring, come round and have a look, because as I say, there is some evidence in there, but I'm not going in today. You can see the angle to which this branch line ran up to Hazel Colliery in the brickyard. We go down to the bottom. Where those trees are at the bottom, that's where the railway line was. And we follow the trees around, and then we get onto the to the sidings and the branch line, if you like. Going uphill, and to that parcel of land that we've just had a look at, and it carries on going up. So it's going to have to have been assisted, this has. I think it's too steep a gradient for normal trains to travel. We're looking now along towards Clown, I think it'll be, on what I believe is the Lancashire, Derbyshire and East Coast Railway, which was at the bottom of the hill when we were walking down. To put it into perspective, that's the line that leads through to Renishire and Renishire Ironworks, and the trees over there, that line of trees, is the Hazel Colliery sidings. And turn right round, you see in the distance there, we can see Staveley Chemicals again, and just drop down and we see Batonfields Manor, Priory, sorry, Batonfields Priory. Flying the flag. Looking down the valley into Renishire. Well, just as a matter of interest and to put the record straight, I believe that's not actually Renishire, it's Barlborough Low Common. But it's on the way into Renishire anyway. Looking down to Batonfields Priory again. This is the old steam driven tramway. The hedgerow that you can see ran through to the sidings for Cottam number 2 colliery, which is on the site of Hazel Colliery, and it ran down there, and somewhere in that vicinity was Cottam number 1 colliery, and they brought a lot of clay out down there as well. It's recorded on the old Ordnance Survey maps that they were extracting clay, mining coal, and bringing it up on a steam driven tramway up down to Rennisher Works and up to Cottam number 2, which is Hazel Colliery that we've called it. So we've actually gone from the new and the railway being just topside to the old, which is the tramway which follows the block of trees, and the trees or tree just there, we're going to have a look at that in a minute. That's the site of the steam winder or steam engine that drove the haulage. So we're going to have a look at that in a minute. And here we are on the site of the steam engine house. Stone. There should be some pipe somewhere. Last time we were down here there was quite a bit of pipe work that we found. Bit of brick. I don't know if that's a bit of pipe or a bit of roofing tile. So this is hidden behind that tree. So you wouldn't normally see it. We'll find any of that pipe work. Oh, there's some of the pipe work. It's hard, I've just thrown it down and it's dropped on the dog and she didn't half bolt. Is it, Cass? Did it get you? Another piece there, look. Yeah, so presumably it got its water supply from a header tank topside. And it must have run a rope down and then picked up where that line of trees is, because that's the run of it. And somewhere in the bottom there, as I say, is Cottam number 1, but there's nothing down there. It's just be a wasted journey to go down, I think. And there it is in its entirety. And this is 19th century technology. A bit more of that pipe work. They cast iron, these pipes. I think they are, aren't they? You can still got the silting up inside. It is marked on the very old maps as being a steam engine now, so it's not something that we've plucked out of the air and said, it looks like one, so it probably is one. On the very old maps it's there, along with the tramway. I haven't got a clue what that is, but it's just a derelict farm down there. Looking over towards the main road from Staver to Barlborough now. What are you doing, Cass? Yeah, this is the banking that the tramway must have worked on. You can see it's quite a mound of earth. There's the engine house proper. It's curious that it's not built out of brick. I mean, normally it would be easy to make it out of brick because they're making bricks just around this area. However, unless they came across the stone when they were building this bit of a embankment, I don't know. You can see how the land changes though when you get nearer to the Priory. Whether they were told they couldn't work in that area because it was part of the Priory and the farms of the Priory, I don't know. I wonder if these are rail sets. Because they wouldn't if they're rail sets, it means this is older than steam. Let me get a closer look. I would suppose one could be anything, having two holes drilled in it, but it could be a stone set because if you imagine the rail lies there and you've got another one on the other side the same, and the horse or pony goes in between the two sets. I don't know, but I would have thought it might be a bit big, but then again, what do I know? Could be an old stone set, I don't know. But, and I don't think Baz and Sue would be able to tell us either, because I think he's older than them. And there's a bit of the stuff that it's all about. Some coal. That's what this is made out of. It's the spoil from the mining operation. And this is the bottom of that embankment. So, just to prove that a railway line does exist, here we are on the track bed, cut into the surrounding landscape, and it does get deeper. The further you go along there, the deeper it gets. But this is the remains of a bridge over the railway. A bit of scrap left off the track. Oh, and some wildlife. Turn them back over because it must be damper underneath. I'm trying to think what they're called. They clamp the bolts, the rails together. Plates, aren't they? Clamping plates. I think this is Lancashire, Derbyshire East Coast, and its demise came about basically because it was just covering routes that were already covered. It was a great idea running from the west coast right across to the east coast and picking up all the collieries. The directors were the people that owned the collieries, so it was in their vested interest to get the coal away as cheaply as possible. But as I said, the duplicated routes and all the best routes had gone. So when they were making these, they took the hardest route. They went against the grade, and they were the first to go when such as Beeching came along and wielded his axe. Yeah, when I said they were going against the grade, I mean chances are this would have had to have been blasted through, because you've got the rock exposed over there. But that's progress. And this went through to Renishire Works, and came from Clownway, I believe, under the Barlborough road. See the ballast as well that the track's made out of. And it's like lava to look at. I think they still use that sort of stuff today. I think this came from the local ironworks. Hold on, let's get it into focus. Yeah, from an iron foundry somewhere, ballast on the track. Yeah. The remains of some communications. I presume that the telephone or the telegraph wires, whichever they were along there. They've been cut down and just abandoned. Just in passing on Westfield Lodge, I presume that's the coil oil. And I said that Hazel Colliery and Cottam Colliery, I would say that They're the houses down there belonging to Cottam. I think it's called Cottam Row. Have a close look in a minute or two. But, one can presume that the gaffer of Westfield Colliery, he lived in that house, and people below him lived in those houses down there. Right, scratch that from the record. I don't think those houses actually belong to Cottam Colliery. Looking at the map, the cottages for Cottam Colliery, I think, have gone. They were down there somewhere, right at the very bottom, just down there somewhere. They've gone, but I'll have a look when I go past on the main road. But I think the Dusty Miller houses there are older than Cottam Colliery. Yeah, as I thought, the colliery houses have gone. That's the site of them there. I think where that bit of woodland was. That's the brickyard looking up there. And there are the houses. And up there is that Westfield lodge. So looking down from the lodge to the houses and through to the brickyard, which is there, and then come down to the cottages which were somewhere there.